The year is 1893, Chicago, a city of contrasts. The world's Columbian Exposition casts its glow upon the bustling streets, but beneath the facade of innovation, a darkness stirs. Ned Connor, a hard-working man seeking a better life, arrives with his wife Julia and their young daughter Pearl. The world's Columbian Exposition captivates Chicago. Millions flock to witness the marvels of electricity, architecture, and culture. Amidst this grand celebration, the Connor family seeks their own piece of the American dream. Ned, a skilled pharmacist, finds employment at Dr. Holmes's drugstore. Julia tends to their young daughter, Pearl, her heart filled with hopes for a secure future. The family's days are filled with simple joys. Little do they suspect that a darkness lurks beneath their seemingly idyllic existence. As the World's Fair illuminates the night sky, the Connors' fate becomes entwined with the sinister intentions of Dr. Holmes. Dr. H. Holmes, a man of many faces, cultivates an air of respectability. His charm is disarming, his gaze both piercing and magnetic. Beneath the veneer of sophistication lies a cold and calculating mind. Holmes is a master manipulator, skilled at preying on the hopes and vulnerabilities of others. He sees in Julia Connor a mark, a pawn in his twisted game. As the weeks turn into months, Holmes weaves his web of deceit around Julia. He showers her with compliments, offering a sympathetic ear to her anxieties and aspirations. He subtly undermines Ned's position in her eyes, planting seeds of doubt and discontent. Unbeknownst to Julia, she is being drawn into a labyrinth of secrets and lies. Holmes, a master of deception, moved with a calculated grace. His eyes, sharp and intelligent, seemed to see into Julia's very soul. He spoke with a smooth, hypnotic voice that could soothe away her worries. Julia, accustomed to the simple affections of her hard-working husband, found herself drawn to Holmes's charisma. His compliments stirred something within her. He painted pictures of a world filled with luxury and excitement. His words were a siren song, luring her closer to the rocks of his deception. Holmes began to sow seeds of discontent about her husband, Ned. He painted a picture of Ned as a man incapable of providing for his family. Julia, torn between her loyalty to her husband and the alluring promises whispered by Holmes, found herself questioning everything she thought she knew. Holmes saw a chance to further isolate Julia and solidify his control over her. He suggested a business opportunity in a distant town for Ned. Ned, weary from the long hours, saw Holmes's offer as a lifeline. Julia, torn between her burgeoning feelings for Holmes and her sense of duty to her husband, urged Ned to accept the offer. Deep in her heart, a seed of doubt planted by Holmes whispered that this separation was for the best. Miles stretched between Ned and Chicago, each one a thread in a tapestry of isolation woven by Holmes's cunning. Letters, filled with Ned's heartfelt longing for his wife and daughter, arrived at the drugstore only to be intercepted by Holmes. To Julia, Holmes fabricated tales of Ned's newfound prosperity and happiness. With each passing day, the distance between husband and wife widened, fueled by Holmes's insidious whispers. Julia, starved for affection and reassurance, clung to the hope that Holmes offered. Ned, meanwhile, toiled away in the distant town, his heart heavy with longing for his family. He poured his soul into letters, detailing his struggles and his unwavering love for Julia and Pearl. But his words never reached their intended recipient. Holmes intercepted each heartfelt letter, ensuring that Julia remained ignorant of Ned's true feelings. Instead, Julia received carefully crafted notes penned by Holmes in a skillful imitation of Ned's hand. With Ned safely out of the picture, Holmes turned his attention to securing Julia's complete dependence. He suggested that she and Pearl move into his newly constructed building, the castle. Julia, swayed by Holmes's promises and increasingly isolated from her former life, agreed to the move. The castle, with its labyrinthine hallways, soundproofed rooms and hidden staircases, became her gilded cage. She was given a position of responsibility, managing the accounts and overseeing the day-to-day operations of Holmes's various enterprises. Unbeknownst to Julia, she was being drawn deeper into Holmes's web of deceit. The castle, a monument to his dark ambition, was designed not as a place of comfort and security, but as a labyrinth of death. Julia, isolated from the outside world and increasingly dependent on Holmes, became a prisoner in her gilded cage. Within the confines of the murder castle, Holmes continued to weave his web of manipulation around Julia. He spoke of their future together, of a life filled with love and happiness. Julia, starved for affection and yearning for a sense of belonging, clung to these promises. Promises of a beautiful home, a marriage proposal, and of making their union official. He showered her with gifts, trinkets that glittered with the promise of a brighter future. Julia, caught in the throes of his manipulation, allowed herself to believe in a future where her heart would finally be whole. Yet beneath the surface of Holmes's charm, a darkness lurked. As weeks turned into months, Holmes's hold on Julia tightened. He began to speak of a special procedure, a medical marvel that would ensure their happiness. Julia, trusting in Holmes's medical expertise, agreed to the procedure. She convinced herself that this was a testament to their love. The truth, however, was far more sinister. Holmes planned to use his medical knowledge not to change Julia, but to end her life. The day of the procedure arrived, cloaked in a heavy silence. Julia, the new bride to be waited for Holmes, her nerves frayed, allowed herself to be led to the room Holmes had prepared. It was a sterile, cold space, devoid of warmth and comfort. Holmes, his movements precise, prepared the instruments. He spoke in soothing tones, reassuring Julia that everything would be all right. As Holmes administered the concoction, a strange lethargy washed over Julia. The last thing she saw before darkness claimed her was Holmes's face, a chilling smile playing on his lips. Julia never woke up. The concoction was lethal, and she became another tragic victim of Holmes's sinister plans. With Julia's lifeless body sprawled upon the examination table, a profound silence descended upon the murder castle. The castle, once a symbol of Holmes's ambition, now stood as a silent testament to his depravity. In the aftermath of his gruesome act, Holmes moved with a practiced efficiency, disposing of Julia's remains. He had planned for this, had designed the castle with this very purpose in mind. Its hidden passages, secret rooms, and soundproof chambers had all played their part in concealing his crimes. Julia Connor, the woman who had arrived in Chicago with dreams of a brighter future, vanished without a trace, swallowed whole by the darkness that had taken root in the heart of the city. The vanishing of innocence. With Julia's light extinguished, a deeper shadow fell upon the murder castle. Little Pearl, oblivious to the horror that had befallen her mother, continued to inhabit the grand, echoing rooms. Her laughter, once a bright counterpoint to the building's inherent gloom, now echoed with a haunting quality, a stark reminder of the innocence that had been stolen within those very walls. Holmes, his appetite for cruelty far from sated, turned his gaze upon the unsuspecting child. He saw in Pearl not a victim, but an obstacle, a loose end that needed to be tidied away. He couldn't risk her innocent prattle revealing the truth of her mother's fate, of the darkness that lurked beneath the castle's opulent facade. He began to weave his web of deception around Pearl, his demeanor shifting to one of avuncular concern. He showered her with gifts, toys designed to distract and entertain. He spun fantastical tales, stories of faraway lands and magical creatures, hoping to lull her into a false sense of security, to make her forget the absence of her mother's warmth and love. A child's trust, A monster's betrayal. Pearl, starved for affection and reassurance, clung to Holmes's displays of kindness. She had always been a trusting child, her innocence a shield against the harsh realities of the world. She had no reason to doubt the man who had, in her young mind, become her protector, her surrogate father. Holmes, a master manipulator of human emotions, recognized the power of Pearl's innocence. He knew that a child's trust, once given, was easily exploited. He played the role of the kindly guardian to perfection, showering her with attention and affection, all the while plotting her demise. He spoke of a secret room, a place of wonder and delight hidden deep within the bowels of the castle. He filled her head with stories of enchanted toys and magical creatures that awaited her there. Pearl, her imagination ignited by his tales, begged to see this wondrous place, unaware that she was being led towards her doom. Whispers in the walls. The castle, a silent witness to Holmes's depravity, seemed to shudder as he led Pearl deeper into its labyrinthine depths. The air grew heavy, thick with the weight of untold secrets and the lingering scent of decay. Whispers seemed to emanate from the very walls, the mournful cries of those who had met their end within its confines. Pearl, her small hand clasped tightly in Holmes's grip, felt a tremor of unease run through her. The shadows seemed to dance before her eyes, taking on monstrous shapes that sent shivers down her spine. The stories Holmes had spun, once so enchanting, now filled her with a vague sense of dread, a premonition of something terrible lurking just beyond the veil of her childish innocence. But Holmes, his resolve hardened by years of calculated cruelty, pressed on, his grip on Pearl's hand tightening as he led her towards the room he had prepared. It was a small, airless space, its walls bare save for a single high window that offered no escape from the suffocating darkness. The castle, its silence broken only by the sound of their footsteps, seemed to hold its breath, a malevolent spectator to the final act in Holmes' reign of terror. Unmasking evil. The whispers of missing persons eventually grew into a roar that could no longer be ignored. Holmes's carefully constructed facade began to crumble, the truth of his crimes seeping out from the shadows of the murder castle like a noxious gas. The authorities, alerted to the disappearances and the growing suspicion surrounding Holmes's activities, descended upon the castle, their investigation revealing a macabre tableau that shocked even the most hardened among them. The full extent of Holmes's depravity, the sheer scale of his crimes, sent shockwaves through Chicago and beyond. The murder castle, once a symbol of ambition and progress, became synonymous with horror and despair, its name whispered in hushed tones as a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurks beneath the veneer of civilization. Holmes, finally unmasked as the monster he truly was apprehended and brought to justice. His trial, a media spectacle that captivated the nation, exposed the depths of his cruelty and the chillingly calculated nature of his crimes. The world recoiled in horror as the details of his deeds were laid bare, the stories of his victims, their lives cut short by his hand, etched into the annals of criminal history. Legacy of the Murder Castle. The legacy of H. Holmes and his murder castle continues to cast a long shadow over American history. The building itself, a chilling monument to his crimes, was eventually demolished, but the stories of what transpired within its walls continue to fascinate and horrify, inspiring countless books, films, and documentaries that attempt to grapple with the depths of human depravity. The case also exposed the dark underbelly of a rapidly changing society, a society grappling with the challenges of urbanization, immigration, and the allure of progress. In the bustling anonymity of late 19th century Chicago, Holmes found fertile ground for his manipulations, preying on the hopes and vulnerabilities of those seeking a better life. The story of H. Holmes serves as a chilling reminder that monsters often wear the masks of normalcy, that evil can lurk beneath the most charming of facades. It is a cautionary tale about the dangers of blind trust, the importance of vigilance, and the enduring power of darkness to touch even the brightest of dreams. Thank you for watching. If you found this video intriguing, please like, share and subscribe for more deep dives into history's most chilling tales. Don't forget to hit the notification bell to stay updated on our latest content.